Okay. Now I think I'm audible. We are going to start major. Here we have a number 1. Here we have ethane, it is C2H4O. And then you are given with a chemical equation in which 1 mole of ethene is reacting with a half mole of oxygen, forming epoxy ethane, and it is a gas, and the enthalpy change given over here is minus 107 degrees, which means it's an exothermic reaction. Which set of conditions gives the greatest yield of epoxy ethane at equilibrium? Okay, so it's an exothermic reaction, and if you see that product side have a less moles on product side, so pressure gets lower. Actually, at lesser pressure we are going to get the more yield, and as the reaction is exothermic, so sorry, we need a high the less number of moles. So pressure as a reaction. So the temperature shift, the equilibrium shifts in a direction where the endothermic reaction is taking place. If we increase the temperature or if we decrease the temperature, it shifts in a direction where less number of moles. Sorry, where there is an exothermic side. So as it is an exothermic side, the forward reaction is exothermic. So it means there is a need to decrease the temperature. So lower temperature and higher pressure. So on the basis of that, I can mark C and D wrong, because in both C and D, there is a low temperature is needed. Now we are left with the A and B. Both have a high pressure. Now, if when we talk about temperature, the B option have a 200 degrees Celsius and A option have a 100 degrees Celsius. So it means that at a lower temperature, we are going to get a more yield. So B goes wrong as well. And we are left with the option A. So our A option is correct. Is this understandable? Now, question number 2. Cobalt can form positive ion. Okay, and it's a complex ion. See, the overall charge is +1. Cobalt in this ion. Okay, so how you will work on the oxidation number of cobalt over here? If you see, the net charge on this ion is +1. We know ammonia as a molecule have a 0 charge. It doesn't have any charge because it's and chlorine is in from group -2. Here we have a 0 and net charge is +1, which means our C option is correct. Okay. Let's proceed to question number 3. When considering one molecule of ethene, which row describes both the hybridization of the atomic orbitals in the carbon atom and the overall bonding? Okay, so they are talking about ethene. So I think everyone remember the structure of ethene and the formula. It is C2H4. as it's an alkene, right? And here the bonding is carbon-carbon double bond, and each double bonded carbon have a 2 hydrogens. So remember, there is a rule or there is a point to remember whether there is a carbon or nitrogen or oxygen. If they are forming no pi bonds and there are all sigma bonds, then the hybridization is sp3. If they are forming one pi bond, then the hybridization is sp2. And if they are forming two pi bonds, then the hybridization is sp. So in this structure, both the carbon atom are forming one pi bond, which means the hybridization is sp2. So if the hybridization is sp2, it makes C and D wrong. Is it understandable to everyone till here? So then they are asking about the sigma and pi bonds. So if you count over here, this is sigma, this is sigma, this is sigma, this is sigma, and here we have a two bonds in between two carbon atoms. So one is sigma and the other one must be a pi bond, right? So it means if you count the sigma bond, there are 5 sigma bonds. So A goes wrong because they have mentioned 4 sigma bonds and B is the correct answer. Is this understandable to everyone? If anyone have any doubt in this, do ask. Question number 4. 10 centimeter cube of ethane. Ethane is C2H6 is burned in 45 centimeter cube of oxygen. Okay. At a pressure of 101 kilopascal and a temperature of 200 degrees Celsius, complete combustion takes place. It means we are going to get carbon dioxide and water. So if I will make the equation, C2H6 is reacting with oxygen, forming carbon dioxide and water. And if I balance the equation, I will put 2 over here and I will put 3 over here. So that makes 7 oxygen. So there must be 7 over 2 or 3.5 oxygen molecules over here to balance the equation. Is this clear to everyone till here? Okay. Now, what is the total volume of gas present when is complete measured under the same conditions? So remember one thing, that the reaction is taking place at 200 degrees Celsius. So at 200 degrees Celsius, these, even obviously the water is also in the vapor form. So it's a gas as well. So remember one thing, for gas, mole ratio and volume ratio are written. So if the provided information is, let's talk about the initial stage. Okay. Okay. So at time 0, at initial, there is a 10 centimeter cube of ethane and 45 centimeter cube of oxygen. And there are 0 of each of them. So I can consider 7 upon over 2 as 3.5, right? So it is easy for you to understand. So from this, I can say that the mole ratio between ethane and oxygen is 3.5, right? So if the mole ratio is 1 is to 3.5, then if there are 10, then it must be 35, right? So it means that here the oxygen is in excess. That for with the 10 centimeter cube of ethane, only 35 centimeter cube of oxygen would react. So 10 centimeter cube of oxygen is left behind. Is this understandable to everyone? Yes, please do respond. So at the end, what would happen that all of the ethane would consume, and out of 45, 35 centimeter cube of oxygen would consume. So oxygen left behind. If you compare ethane and carbon dioxide, it means that there must be 20 centimeter cube of carbon dioxide would form of each gas which are present at the end of the reaction. So at the end of the reaction, there are 60 centimeter cube of gas is there. So our D option is correct. B and A goes wrong. Is this understandable to everyone? If anyone have any doubt or confusion, do ask. Yes, is this clear to everyone? From the balanced equation, Mehveen, if you look over here, there is a 1 mole of ethane which is producing 2 moles of carbon dioxide and 3 moles of water, right? So if 10 moles, 10 centimeter cube of ethane is going to be consumed, then they are going to form 20 centimeter cube of carbon dioxide because the ratio is 1 is to 2. In the same way, the ratio between ethane and water is 1 is to 3. So if 10 centimeter cube of ethane would consume, then 30 centimeter cube of water vapors are also formed because of this ratio from the balanced equation. Is it clear, Mehveen? Yes, if anyone have any doubt, do ask. Now, next question, question number 5. 2 reactions are shown. Okay, if you look at the first reaction, the hydrogen gas, 1 mole of hydrogen gas is turning into 1 mole of hydrogen. So you can consider this enthalpy change as a bond energy, because 1 mole of bond in a gaseous state is actually broken down, right? Okay, and you can consider it as a twice of enthalpy change of atomization, because enthalpy change of atomization is when 1 mole of gaseous atoms are being formed. Okay. If you look at the second equation where the 1 mole of carbon monoxide is reacting with oxygen to give you carbon dioxide, so I can consider its enthalpy change as an enthalpy change of a combustion of carbon monoxide, because carbon monoxide is burned in excess of carbon dioxide. if molar amounts are used, how can the two energy changes associated with these reactions be described? So it is enthalpy change of atomization. No, it is considered as wrong because it is twice of enthalpy change of atomization because 2 moles are being formed. Again, enthalpy change of atomization. So A and B goes wrong. Here, the first option is correct. But in D, the second option is wrong because it says enthalpy change of formation. And in enthalpy change of formation, only the elements are only the reactants are only the elements, not any compound can be an reactant in that case. So A, B, and D goes wrong, and our correct answer is C. Is this understandable to everyone? Now, question number 6. The diagram shows the Boltzmann energy distribution curves for a molecule of a sample of a gas at 2 different temperatures. Okay, which letter on the axis represents the most probable energy of the molecules at low temperature? Most probable energy means the most molecule here. So they are asking which letter on the axis represents the most probable energy. So if you recall this energy distribution curve, that energy is always on x-axis, right? Energy is on x-axis, then A and B goes wrong. So we have to consider only C and D. Okay. If I put a line over here, that is for activation energy. So for this curve, there are more molecules having the more molecules. One minute. Okay, so there are more molecules which have a energy greater than activation energy. So it means this line or this curve corresponds to a distribution of energy at of the molecules at higher temperature. And if you look at this curve, that there are very few molecules which have energy greater than activation energy. So this curve actually belongs to the distribution of the energy of the molecules at lower energy. So, or at lower temperature actually. So at the lower temperature, this is the most probable energy where there are most of the molecules are present at lower temperature. So D goes wrong and C is our correct answer. Yes, is this clear to everyone? See, on that, in this case, these are the number of molecules or the proportion of molecules. So at this energy, there are more molecules over there. Is it understandable to everyone? Now, question number 7. What are the units of Kp for the reaction shown? Okay. So remember, Kp is for gases only, right? So it means we are not going to include this carbon. Okay. So, and the rest of the substances are in the gaseous state. So if I write the expression for Kp and each one have a 1 mole only, right? So partial pressure of carbon monoxide divided by partial pressure of water, right? So if I go for the units and as they have given us the pascals, so Pascal times Pascal divided by Pascal. So we are left with Pascal only. So it means A, C, and D goes wrong, and our correct answer is B. In this question, you should use change in oxidation numbers to balance a chemical equation. Acidified potassium dichromate 6 solution can oxidize a solution of V2 positive ions. The equation for this reaction is shown. Okay, so I hope everyone now remembered, as they have mentioned over here, dichromate 6. So it clearly means this chromium have a +6 oxidation number and there are 2 chromiums. Okay. There are chromium with a +1 oxidation number, right? So let me consider there are 2 chromium 3 positive ions for the time being. Okay. So if in oxidation number over here, and what you have to find? Okay, what is the ratio of A is to B? Okay, we have to figure out the value of A and B or their simplest ratio. Okay, so if I mark 2 chromium over here, so the final oxidation number of the 2 chromiums are positives. Is positive 6 minus positive 12. So the change in oxidation number between the chromium before the reaction and after the reaction is -6. Is this understandable to everyone? Yes, please. Is this part is clear? Now, if I vanadium number, the net charge on VO3 is -1, right? We know that oxygen is -2 and there are 3 oxygens, so which makes it -6. The net charge is -1, which clearly indicates that vanadium is +5 over here. So the oxidation number of vanadium is changing from +2 to +5. So change in oxidation number would be +5 minus +2, which gives me +3, right? But the oxidation number must be balanced. So +6 make it times 2 to make it +6. If I do this, I have to put a 2 over here and I have to put a 2 over here. Now, both we got the exact ratio of the moles of the chromium, dichromate and vanadium. And if you look at these moles, that if I put the 2 over here, if I keep the 2 over here, then it means that A must be equivalent to 1 only. So if A is 1 and B is 2, so the ratio would be 1:2, which makes B correct and rest of the 3 options wrong. Yes, is this clear to everyone? Yes. Okay, let's move to question number 9. A sample of argon gas has a mass of 0.2 grams at a pressure of 100,000 pascals and a temperature of 12 degrees Celsius. Which volume does that gas occupy? Okay, so you are given with the mass, you are given with the pressure, and you need to find the volume. So you must use PV is equals to nRT expression, where you must remember pressure must be Q is the number of moles, T is the temperature which must be in Kelvin, and R is the general gas constant 0.31. Okay, so if I make the volume as a subject, so my equation becomes nRT over P. Okay, so I don't know the number of moles, right? But I know the mass, and from the periodic table, I can find the AR of argon. So can anybody look into the periodic table and tell me the AR of argon? So instead of n, the number of moles, I would put 0.20 over. Is it 39.9, Variza? Times R, okay, thank you, Vita. 8.31 times temperature is 12 degrees Celsius. So we have to convert the temperature into Kelvin. For that, we have to Kelvin, or 273 degrees Celsius to convert into a Kelvin. Divided by pressure is 100,000 pascals. Yes. Now you had all the values. Just put in the calculator and tell me the answer, please. And see all the answers in centimeter cube. Here, whatever the answer we got in a meter cube. So we times it exponent 6 to convert into a centimeter cube. So first tell me the answer in the meter cube, then we will convert it into a centimeter cube. It is 1.86 exponent minus 4 meter. Okay, 1.186 or 1.186 exponent minus 4 meter cube. So just multiply it with exponent 6. So what value you are getting? I think you would be getting 118.6. And if you see here, we are given with 119. So it would be round off to 119. So it means A, B, and C are the wrong options, and D is the correct answer. Is this understandable to everyone? Yes, is this clear? Just give me a minute, please. Yes, am I audible? Now question number, in which pair does each species have the same number of unpaired electron? You have to identify which have a same number of unpaired electron. Okay, let's talk about aluminium. The atomic number of aluminium is 27. So if you will write its electronic configuration, it is 1s2, 2s2, 3s2, and 3p1. Okay. Then you have a copper 2 positive ion, and the atomic number of copper is 29. Sorry, it's 13 for aluminium. My bad. So copper atomic number of 29. Okay. So the copper atom, if you recall, its electronic configuration is 4s1 3d10. So in this case, one electron is lost from 4s, so 4s goes 0, and instead of 3d10 you will left with 3d9. So if you recall 3d9, 3d have a 5 orbital, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So one unpaired electron over here and one paired electron over here. So it means your option is correct. Okay. So here you go. A is the correct one. You can check the rest of them, you will find them wrong. For example, if you look for calcium, calcium is 20. So calcium would normally end at 4s2, so no unpaired electron. For chromium, 3 positive. So chromium is the atomic number is 24. So chromium atom would end at 4s1, 3d5. If you consider chromium 3 positive, so 4s, the electron from the 4s would be removed, and 2 electrons from 3d would give you 3d3. So 3d3 means 1 2 3. So see here 3 unpaired electrons, and here no unpaired electron. That's why calcium and chromium 3 positive could not be the answer. In the same way, you can justify C and D as well. Okay, let's move to question number 11. A sample of solid ammonium chloride decomposes on heating. Okay, so solid ammonium chloride NH4Cl solid gives you ammonia gas and hydrogen chloride gas. A total of 2.5 exponent 21 molecules of gas is formed. How many hydrogen atoms are present in the gaseous product? Okay, so if you look at the equation, there is an ammonium chloride, it's a solid, and it is giving you 1 mole of ammonia and 1 mole of hydrogen chloride gas. If you equation is balanced, right? And what is the ratio between these two gas products which are formed? The ratio is 1:1, which means that if there are 2.4 exponent 21 molecules, so half of the molecules, the half of it is 1.2 exponent 21, right? So it means 1.2 exponent 21 molecules of ammonia would form, and 1.2 exponent 21 molecules of HCl would form. Is this understandable? Yes. Okay. So for ammonia, if I have to find the hydrogens for ammonia, I have to make it times 3. So it would become 3.6 exponent 21 hydrogen atoms. And for this, I would have to make it times 1 only, because there is a 1H in the hydrogen chloride gas. So 1.2 exponent 21. Now what you have to do, you have to add them to get the total number of hydrogen atoms. So if you would add them, what you will get? 4.8 exponent 21. So see over here, it means A, B, and D. These three are wrong, and C is your correct answer. Yes, is this clear? Okay. Question number 12. A white powder is a mixture of sodium chloride and sodium iodide. Okay. NaCl and NaI. It is dissolved in water in a test. An excess of silver nitrate is added to the test tube. A precipitate X is observed. So, both are there. So, let's recall the reaction. What would happen? Both are there. And what we did? We have added in mixture silver nitrate. So, when the silver nitrate would react, it will give you silver chloride, which are the precipitates, and silver iodide, which are also the precipitate, because both of these are insoluble in water. So that they are talking about the precipitate X. So basically, precipitate X is the mixture of both the silver chloride and silver iodide. Is this understandable? Now, they are saying next an excess of concentrated ammonia is then added to the test tube containing X. So what I did, I put the excess aqueous ammonia. So if you recall, ammonia basically reacts with the chloride, and when it reacts with the chloride, it would form this complex, which is aqueous, and the chloride ion also become aqueous. But with silver iodide, it doesn't react, so it remains the same. After the test tube has been shaken, a precipitate Y is observed. So from the X, all the silver chloride dissolve, and we are getting the X. So it means the leftover precipitate is Y. And if you recall, the color of these precipitates are white and the color of these precipitates are yellow. So it means the color of this would be cream or off-white, right? And for Y, we are getting only the yellow color. So if you see X is a pure white color, no, it cannot be, because the X is a mixture of the two compounds. Each one compound is white in color and the other one is yellow in color. So the color, and it's not must be pure white. X is a pure silver iodide. No, it's wrong, because we already have discovered or figured it out that X is the mixture of silver chloride and silver iodide. Y is pure silver chloride? No, we have figured it out. Y is basically pure silver iodide. And as it is silver iodide, so yes, it's yellow. So the correct answer. I hope everybody understood this. If anyone have any doubt, do ask. Yes, is this clear to everyone? Yes, kindly have any task or doubt, do ask. Okay. Now let's move to question number 13. 6.90 gram of ammonium salt. It means it must contain ammonium ion. But what is the negative ion? We don't know. With an excess of sodium hydroxide, the volume of ammonia gas produced measured under room condition is 2.51 dm3. Which ammonium salt is used? Okay. So in the first case, we have ammonium carbonate, And if you recall the formula of ammonium carbonate, it is NH4 twice CO3. So ammonium carbonate would going to give you 2 moles of ammonia, right? So if 1 mole of ammonium carbonate is used, then its mass is given over here, which means 96 gram of ammonium carbonate would give you 2 moles of ammonia, which means 2 times 24 decimeter cube volume of oxygen, oh sorry, of ammonia gas. So if I use 6.90 gram, then how much volume of X is produced? So can anybody calculate this value of X and tell me the answer, please? That what is the value of X we are getting, whether it is 2.51 or not, that we have to figure out for all of these. Yes, can anybody find the value of X over here? Yes, I'm waiting for the answer. Okay, the answer over here is 3.45 decimeter cube, which didn't match the answer provided by the examiner. So it means A goes wrong. Now, 53.5 is ammonium chloride. So ammonium chloride is NH4 Cl, and I have 1 mole of ammonium ion, so it would give you 1 mole of ammonia gas only. So if 53.5 grams of ammonium chloride is reacted, then only 24 decimeter cube of ammonia is produced. So if I react 6.90 gram of ammonium chloride, then what would the volume of ammonia would form? Can anybody find the value of X over here? Three point one. The X over here is 3.1, which also doesn't match the value provided by the examiner. So B goes wrong. Now C. B is also wrong. Now C. Ammonium nitrate 80. The MR is 80. So if you recall the formula of ammonium nitrate, it is NH4NO3. On heating with a base, it would also produce only 1 mole of ammonia. So it means 80 gram of ammonium nitrate would only produce 24 decimeter cube of ammonia. So if we use 6.90 gram of ammonium nitrate, then how much volume of ammonia is produced? Can anybody calculate the value and tell me the answer, please? Yes, what is the value of X over here? Two 2.07. Okay. So see, 2.07 decimeter cube I am getting over here, which indicates that it is also the wrong answer. So for exam point of view, when you do the like this and you have a last left, but you have figured it out the first four parts by calculation that these are wrong, then what you will do, you don't have to do the, you have to save your time, you don't have to do the fourth part, and you can, you know, just mark the fourth part, the last D option correct. Okay, but for now, if you want to justify it, let's do it. But I'm telling you, for the exam point of view, just save your time. If you do A, B, and C and you figure it out all the three wrongs, just mark the D correct and move on the next question. Okay, don't need to waste time on calculation for D. Okay, so here we have ammonium sulfate. The formula of ammonium sulfate is NH4 twice SO4. It would provide you 2 moles of ammonia gas, right? So from the equation, from the MR, I can get 132.1 grams of ammonium sulfate would give me 2 times 24 decimeter cube of ammonia. So if I use 6.90 gram of ammonium sulfate, then it's dm cube of ammonia would produce. You can calculate it, and it would be the same value as given in the question, which is 2.51 decimeter cube. Just do it the calculation. Okay. Is this understandable to everyone? Now, question number 14. An excess of magnesium oxide is shaken with water. The resulting mixture is filtered into a test tube P. Okay. An excess of magnesium oxide is shaken with water. The resulting mixture is filtered into test tube Q. So if you recall, the solubility of group 2 oxides and hydroxide increases along the road. So here it is less soluble, and in test tube Q, the barium oxide hydroxide that is formed is actually more soluble. Okay, which oxide reacts more readily with water, and which filtrate has the lower pH? So the lower pH would be of P, because there are, the solubility is less, so there would be, the value of the pH would be closer to 7, but must be greater than 7. So the lower pH would be P. These can be correct, and these two would be wrong. Is this understandable? Now, barium oxide reacts more readily as compared to magnesium oxide because it completely dissolves, so it would dissolve more readily. So in this case, C goes wrong and A is your correct answer. Is this clear? Now, question number 15. Element that has a kind structure. Okay. They are talking about element. Okay. So the chloride of Z reacts with water to give a solution of pH less than 7. Which pair shows two elements which could be Z? Okay. So, if you recall, here they said magnesium, magnesium chloride have a pH of around 6.5. So A goes wrong. Here magnesium, and for the same reason, C goes wrong. Now we are left with B and D. So if you recall phosphorus, see, very important thing. Phosphorus is P4, which means simple molecular. So D goes wrong, right? So you are left with only B. So B is the correct answer. So that is the way. Remember, whenever you are confused in two options, or whenever you are attempting an MCQ, always go for the wrong one. Mark wrong one, exclude it, work on the next three, then mark one wrong one, exclude it, then work on the rest of the two, mark one wrong one and exclude it, and you have a correct answer. Is it clear to everyone till question number 15? If anyone have any doubt, do ask. Okay. So for today, I'm keeping the class till here only. And tomorrow we will continue from question number 16. Okay. Okay, take care everyone. Allah Hafiz.